What do you think about these emotions?
I can really get angry. I feel all tense. And if I just get hold of the one who's taken my crisps, I'd feel like doing something bad to him.
What do you do when you get in a temper?
Well, if I'm in the dining room and I'm getting angry, I just go out to the door, close the door and make funny faces at the door.
What makes you angry in life?
Well, all sorts of things, really.
What's the angriest?
Well, sometimes people get aggravating, you know.
When do they get aggravating?
Well, occasionally my brother gets a bit aggravating, you know. He's 18 years old now.
And what does he do to you?
Well, you know, he's got a girlfriend, so he gets a bit sort of hied up when I go out with her for a bit.
How do you mean?
Well, he gets a bit, you know, he likes being with her all the time. So while he goes upstairs and gets changed, I have a little chat with Linda.
Yeah? What does your brother say about that?
Well, that's what he gets a bit, you know, aggravating with, you know.
I bet he does. What did he say to you?
Well, it's more thumping and fighting than that, you know, between the two.
And how do you feel then?
Well, I don't mind it all that much, you know, you get used to it after a bit.
Do you lose your temper very often?
Not very often. I do sometimes.
What happens when you do?
Well, I go red in the face and then I go off, and I normally go upstairs, put my head under my pillow and start sulking.
Do you ever have a struggle with yourself and try and stop yourself from getting angry?
Yes. I try counting to 10, but I can never do it.
And how do you feel when you get angry against your brother?
Oh, I go red in the face.
What makes you do that, do you think?
Well, it's probably a natural reaction.
How much can you sort of control this tensed up feeling that you get?
Oh, to quite an extent, really.
Oh, how? How can you control it?
Well, you know, it's a sort of willpower.
And what do you do with your willpower? What do you say to yourself?
Stop it, I don't like getting thumped.
Do you know an important person?
Yes, and my mummy thinks she's important when she gets new clothes and she tries them on, and she's very pleased with herself for getting them.
Who do you say is important?
Well, Mr. Wilson's important because you can't criticise him.
What about you? What kind of a job do you think the Prime Minister's got?
I think he's got a very easy one because he plans to do things, but he doesn't get round to do them. I've never met the Prime Minister, but I've got his autograph and I've got the Foreign Secretary's, Mr. Brown. They're both terrible writers. If I wrote like that, I would get wrong off the teacher.
What would the teacher say?
She would say, you're a naughty, naughty little girl.
Well, I think football referees are very important in World Cup matches, FA Cup final matches, and other such matches as these. But in league matches, no, they're not all that important.
Why not?
Well, half the time they don't know what they're doing.
Well, the pop groups are very important because, I mean, without them we wouldn't have any. Well, at least they bring in money for the records. And we have to have a pop singer to go into the Eurovision Song Contest. And if we win, more people from other countries buy our records, so we'll get more money to put into the bank.
You're the head boy here. Are you an important person?
Yes, I suppose I am, really.
Can you remember when you first got this authority, what that was like?
Well, yes, I can remember. I was very worried of whether I would get the job. I wasn't certain at all. And I was almost certain that either Kevin Corner or Stephen Shue would get the job. And I was off school for about a day with worrying. My mum said it was with worrying, but I didn't really know. And then when I got to the school, Mr. Glover called all these people into the hall. And I thought, oh, this must be it. I must be a monitor or something. And then Mr. Glover said that the staff had staff and I have decided who's going to be the head boy, and he called out my name. I really got the shock of my life, and I didn't know what had happened.
Well, what about being important like this and having authority? Is it worthwhile?
Yes, it's very worthwhile. It gives me a sense of responsibility. I feel that I've got a job to do, and I must do it.
I think the sergeant majors think that they're important because the way the boss soldiers around, that they're under their rank. For instance, on parades in front of generals, they shout about the soldiers like, "Attention! March!"
And why do you think they shout at the soldiers like that?
Because they want to show how important they are and because they're thick.
Have you ever met anybody who thought he was important?
Well, once I did. There was this park I was playing in. I was on these rocks at the edge of the water, and this park keeper came along. You know, he was all la-di-da, thinking he was great, and I suppose he just got the job anyhow. He was only about 20. Well, anyhow, I was sitting on the rocks just watching the lads fishing, and he came along, "Hey, get off there," you know, just going on as though he was great and showing off and boasting.
What did you think about him?
Well, I thought he was a bit stupid.
How much do you think it matters what you look like?
Well, if you go in for a job, the people who are going to give you a job think that only the appearance matters, not the character. And so they give jobs to people who look good-looking and quite friendly and stuff like that, and rich.
Say if you're going to visit somebody who you know very well, and say who's a major in the army or something like that, and you want to look your best to go there for you going out to tea, say, and you want to look your best.
So what do you wear when you're going to see a major?
Well, you could wear your best dress if you were a girl, and your best suit if you were a man.
Well, it doesn't really matter at all because when they're ugly, they might be very nice, and when they look nice, they might be horrible.
How would you like to look yourself?
All nice.
How, though?
Nice face.
What sort of face would you choose if you could?
My own face.
Why do women wear fashionable clothes, do you think?
Well, to get boyfriends. And,
How do you mean?
well, if they look nice and pretty and go to the dance, you know, boys go, and they just want boyfriends to get them.
What's wrong with the way some women look these days, then?
Well, some people dress up mad.
How do you mean?
They've got fringes on the bottom of the legs.
And they put all ink on, the boys put ink on the jeans, make themselves look a mess, and had long hair.
And the girls have funny dresses on.
Why
They're all jazzy colours.
Why do they do it, do you think?
To be mad, keep up to date with everybody else.
And what's wrong with some of these fashions, then?
Too many owls in dresses.
Too many holes?
Must be draft day.
Now, why do these women go to so much trouble over their appearance?
Well, they want to look smart, they want to look the best out of all their friends and relations. They want to boast about it. They want to be the smartest and the prettiest. All this sort of thing. They want to be the best out of them.
What do you think of them?
Well, they want to look, well, they look a bit posh. A bit over-smart, I should say.
Well, I think it's all cratery and full of, well, they say cheese, but I don't think it is. I just think it's big craters.
Yeah.
With little craters next to it, and big shaggy rocks, and
Why don't you think it's cheese?
well, from colour, no.
We would make a rocket and sneak out of the door and we would get in it and fly up to space. And he would come to my house and he could help me make a rocket. Yeah. And I've got loads of wood. My daddy doesn't want it. We can make big pieces. And we can paint it.
And that'd get you to the moon, would it?
Yes, because we put some special controls in. Yeah. And brakes.
Are you sure it'd be big enough to take you to the moon?
Yes, because you make it that wide. We'll make it as big as we can, yes. As long as we've got enough wood.
Why wouldn't
We'll
you...
make it as big as this room.
Why
Yes,
wouldn't
we'll
you
make
take
it
your
bigger
mummy...
than this room.
Why wouldn't you take your mummy and daddy with you to the moon?
Because we don't want them to send us to bed at our bedtime. We want to go to bed whenever we want to. Yes.
Do you think there are any humans there already?
Not like us.
What would they be like then?
Oh, I don't know. They might have 3 arms, I don't know.
3 arms. What do you think they'd do when people like us arrived?
Well, they might try and attack us, or they might be frightened.
What would you do to try and make them friendly?
Give them things.
What would you give them?
Well, the things you've taken from home.
But what sort of things would appeal to men with 3 arms?
A pair of gloves and an odd one.
I think they'll be green with black spots on, and they'll have a little hook on the top of the head,
What's the hook for?
hanging coats on.
Yes, it would be quite exciting, really. Yeah, all the Martian robots attacking. Well,
Do you think you could go?
well, there's no oxygen up there. Well, there isn't, actually. So if there's no oxygen, you can't breathe.
Well, you couldn't breathe without an oxygen, could you?
No.
So,
But if you took a plant up there with oxygen tanks on that lasts an hour, and you put the plant in and it breathes out oxygen, you could live up there. But how would you get the plant up there?
How would you get you up there?
In a rocket.
in a rocket, I should think, would you? Because
Two rockets soldered together.
Because if you wanted to jump up to the moon, you'd only go about several feet, and if you wanted to go in a plane, that would go very high either, because it's really far away.
Do you think there should be things like pubs on the moon and that?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, because we've got enough boosters down here. Why should we have them up there as well? Well, they couldn't have come from Jupiter, because that, it's horribly gassy there. They couldn't have come from there, so
They
that's
couldn't have
one
come
thing.
from Uranus either. That's
Oh, no.
freezing, or Pluto either.
Oh, Pluto, that's ever so far away.
If you two went to the moon, what would you like to leave behind most?
Oh, well, not school. I'd like to take school with us. Ooh, would you? Ooh.
What would you leave behind then?
Oh,
What would I leave behind? I wouldn't go with my brother, not on your life.
Who would you take with you?
Poor people and people who are honest. I won't take royal people because I don't like them.
Don't you?
No.
Don't you think you'd need royal people on the moon?
No.
How would you sort them out?
Well, I'd try and tell to them that you'd have to be good, and if they were royal, I'd say you're royal no more, and you're just the same as the other people.
Who would be royal on the moon? Who would be the leader? Who would be the king and queen?
Me. I won't take any girls.
Why not?
I don't like them.
But wouldn't you need them if you're going to start a new race, you know?
No.
No? What would you do without them?
Yeah, we need them for cooking.
Do you think cooking
Yeah, and housework.
and housework, is that all girls do, do you think?
No.
How would you spend your last day on Earth?
Well, I'd read a history books
What about?
about Gustav's last stand or anything like that,
Why would you do that before you went to the moon?
because I like it.
Would it do you any good, though?
Well, yes.
What good would it do you?
It would keep my mind refreshed.
Well, I'd go to an hotel, ask for a spare room.
Yeah.
After I've had my dinner, if I've had a drink, I might go into a bar
Yeah.
and have a pint.
A pint, would you? And then you'd be all ready to go to the moon?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, what next?
Well, after I've had my dinner, I'm had a lie down for 2 hours or so. Go back to the bar and have another pint.
Hey, you'd be drunk by the time you got on the moon.
And then have a good morning sleep. And then ready for take-off in the morning.
Where do you say a baby comes from?
They come from a little tiny seed that grows in the body, and it grows bigger, and the mothers have an operation, and when they have an operation, they take it out, and a little baby, it cracks a little bit, and then it cracks more, and the baby comes out, and they feed out of something with milk, and then when they're bigger, they can have a bottle and a dummy.
But what is it that cracks?
Seed.
The seed with the baby in.
The baby has to grow first.
Where does the seed come from?
It grows.
Have you got a baby in your house?
Yes, but she isn't actually a baby. She's a toddler.
She's a toddler.
Yes.
What do you think about her?
Well, I'm a bit proud of her, but the thing is, she's a nuisance.
A nuisance?
Yes.
In what way? In what way?
Well, we've got a double sink in our kitchen, and sometimes she goes to the sink when Mummy wants to go, and then Mummy has to move to the other sink because she's playing Doorbach, it's called in Welsh, you know. She's got a teapot, her little tea set, and plays with a little water on the sink.
This is called what?
Doorbach.
Doorbach.
In English, little water.
Do you want a baby? How would you look after it? What would you do with it?
I'll feed its buckle, I know how to do that. Change its nappy, I know how to do that.
Is there a baby in your house?
No. No.
Would you like there to be one?
Yes.
Why? What would you do if you had one?
Play with him quite a lot. And sometimes I'd stop him being naughty.
Why would you like to have a baby to play with?
Well, so I'd have someone else to play with, because I've got a game of snakes and ladders and Ludo, and I haven't got anyone to play it with.
Well, I think Parliament myself is a good idea. The trouble is, you hear more of it on television than other things. I expect it would be a good idea to have one programme on Parliament on the television.
Well, it was nice and it was attractive in a lot of the places. And there was the Lord's place and the Queen's robing chamber place, and I thought the throne thing was nice. And there were two lobbies, the aye lobby and the nay lobby, and they were both quite nice.
Were you surprised by anything?
Yes, I was surprised by not finding any ashtrays around.
How do you mean?
Well, I thought the Lords would, like smoking.
Did you look for ashtrays?
Yes, I didn't see any around.
How does Parliament work? What happens?
Well, the Houses of Commons, they talk to the Chancellor of the Exchequer and they ask him what's going to go up. And they put sweets up, which I don't want the sweets to go up, and things, cigarettes, but Mr. Wilson, I think, tells them not to put tobacco up because he smokes tobacco in his pipe, so that's not fair. They put tobacco up.
Who can tell me what an MP does all day? What do you think a whip does in Parliament?
A whip? Whips people.
What for?
Because they've been bad.
What sort of a life does an MP have? Does he have it easy, do you think?
Yes, I think he has it easy because he just sits in his office and works out bills and doesn't do any hard work like being a road sweeper or driving a big lorry.
Some MPs say conditions in the House aren't fit to work in. What do you think?
I think it's all right and I wouldn't mind it for my own.
You'd like to live in there, would you?
Yeah.
What would you do with it?
I wouldn't send it to America, that's for a start.
You wouldn't? Why not?
Well, because they got Queen Elizabeth, they got Queen Mary, and they're going to have the London Bridge. They have nearly all the things that we're going to have.
So what would you do with the House of Parliament?
Well, I'd add little things.
What sort of little things would you add?
The Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa? What else?
Buy another throne and we'd buy some other crowns from other countries if they got them to spare.
What were the members doing? Was it all very lively?
No, they were asleep. Some gentleman had his feet up on a chair and he was leaning right back, snoring.
Did anybody take any notice of him?
No, though, it's just a bit of a laugh, I thought. They were all laughing about. It's like a comedy show. I thought it would be a bit more serious than it was.
Supposing you had a home of your own and you had some people in for dinner, what's the best thing?
Cheese pie.
What?
Cheese pie.
Can you make cheese pie?
Yes.
How?
The first course would be fish, because I like that. And the second course would be stew or soup or something like that. Something extravagant. And, well, I don't know what I'd give them for the third lot. Anything they liked, I suppose. Fruit cocktail, nice fresh fruit salad and things like that.
Do you like them as well?
Yes. I wouldn't give them anything I didn't like.
Your idea of an ideal home, what would it be like? Where would it be?
I'd have in an island, and I'd have servants. I'd have servants doing all the work sometimes. Let them have like days off, Sunday and Saturday and Monday and Wednesday, something like that.
Why would it be on an island?
So you can be all by yourself then. Nobody's bossing you around. Like the Queen saying, you gotta do this, you gotta pay your rates and all this.
Well, I think most men do help, but some men are very lazy.
What about you? Where would your ideal home be?
Well, probably under the sea. Round about where there's lots of coral and oysters.
Lots of?
Coral and oysters.
Is it possible to live under the sea?
Yes.
Well, how would you breathe?
Well, there'd be an oxygen tank up in the roof and some pipes coming round to each room. One for the oxygen to come in and one for the used air to go out.
Before you came here with your caravan and your mother and father, where else had you lived?
Watford, Uxbridge and Southend and Colchester.
Do you like moving about like this from place to place?
No.
You don't?
No.
What would you like to do then?
No. I like to settle down and go to school.
You'd like to what?
Settle down and go to school.
Why would you like to settle down and go to school?
Because I can read and write.
Why do you want to learn to read and write then?
Because I won't be a fool then, would I?
What about you two? Are you both real gypsies?
I'm a real gypsy.
Why?
My grandfather's a gypsy.
What about you? You don't look like a gypsy to me.
No, I'm half and half.
You're half and half?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, my mum's a gypsy and my dad's a gorgie.
Your mum's a gypsy and your dad's a...
Gorgie.
What's a gorgie?
Well, someone who lives in a house.
Well, what about the children at school that live in houses? Do you call them gorgie?
Yes.
What do you say to them?
Gorgie live in the house. All the rats are running in and out.
Gorgie.
Live in the house. All the rats are running in and out.
And is that right? People who live in houses?
No.
They don't have rats, really?
No.
Have you got any other sayings like this? Any other gypsy sayings?
Yes.
What?
If you wash your hair in May, you washes one of the family away.
What does that mean?
Well, if you washes your hair in May, one of your family dies.
Is that a gypsy saying?
Yes.
Is it true?
No. But the old gypsies believes in it.
The old gypsies believe in it.
Yes.
And you're one of the new gypsies.
Yes.
Why don't your mummy and daddy travel about with you now?
Because we're settled down on the site and they like it here.
Well, when you are traveling about, what is it like for you?
When you travel about, when you open the window, it's like all cold. You got to shut the window again. And when you travels about and you put a trailer on the tow bar, you got to make sure you put all your Crocs down.
All your
Crocs and cups. Because for our tea, because if you leave them up, they're all smashed. When it goes over a bump or something, they're all smashed. That's why we put them in a box.
What kind of a job do you want to have?
I'll do the job that my dad does, rag and boning, sir.
Rag and boning?
Yes, sir.
Is that a good job?
Not quite so bad, sir. As I'm working in the factory, you can earn more money.
You can earn more money doing rag and boning?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how to go about it now?
Yes, sir.
Have you done any?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
See, we go in the houses and knock on the door and ask for any old rags or any old scrap on us. If we don't, we go out and shut the door behind us.
You
and
what?
if we go out and shut the door behind us, if we don't want them to go to the doors, we can holler out, rag bone.
You can holler out rag and bone?
Yes, sir. And see, he comes out and says, we've got some old scrap here or anything like that. And we comes in and picks it up with a lorry.
Are you good at hollering out?
Not quite so good, sir, but I can do it.
You can do it?
Yes, sir.
Can we hear it?
Ragman!